Hey folks, it's Tom, your frugal prepper, trying to get this garden in. It's kind of a cloudy day, but I'll show you where I'm at. I'm getting ready to go get some more plants, but this is what I got done last night. Then we had some big thunderstorms overnight and everything's all wet again, but I'm just going to have to plant it wet because I got to get it in. Okay, so I've just kind of come down here. These are the cantaloupe plants. I've got them planted. I got the strings in. They're looking a little beat up from the thunderstorm. But I'm sure they're going to recover just fine. And then I had two pickling cucumbers right here. And then these are the two lemon cucumbers right here. And those almost look like they might be a bush cucumber instead of a vining one. So I've never grown bush cucumbers before. We'll see how that goes. And then these are zucchini and squash down here. I don't know which is which. But they're really getting too big. This one's getting a little wilted. He may have a little transplant shock. We'll just have to see if he makes it. I think he will though. They just got a little beat up from that storm. But as soon as the sun comes out, these guys will probably take right off. And those plants get big, so we plant those 21 inches apart on the Mittleider system. You know, it's just my soil is just really is just clay. You can make clay pots out of this stuff, but I mixed some leaves in there to help loosen it up a little bit. But I can tell you, at my old house, I just had this beautiful black topsoil that was just full of organic matter. And here I have clay that will turn rock hard when it dries out. And with the Mittleider system, the soil truly isn't that important. And it does. I do equally as well growing plants in rock hard clay with no nutritional value as I do growing in beautiful black thick topsoil. Almost would say I do better here in the clay. So that's what's going on. I think I'm just going to get some decent hybrid tomatoes for the first half or so of this first section. Some peppers in the second section, and then probably do maybe a whole 10-foot section of potatoes down there. I don't know if I'm going to do any beans this year. I might. Beans and corn are something that we'll eat, but I've got so many green beans still canned that I need to use up, and I'm just not doing very many tomatoes this year because we've been eating on them all winter, and I still have a freezer full of tomatoes. We just thaw them out like whenever we're doing any kind of pasta sauces or whatever, and thaw them out, skin them, and mulch them up and throw them in there. And we've just been using them like crazy, but I still have tons left, and then I still have what's in my jars, my canning jars. So I just don't need very many this year. Have a few, nice slicers to put on some sandwiches is really all I need. So I may do half beans and half potatoes down there. We'll see. But that's what's going on so far. So now it's off to my favorite little farm nursery to see what they have left for plants. I'm getting started late because we just had rain on stuff on every weekend. So normally I'd like to have been in, have my garden planted about 2 weeks ago, but it'll catch up and still make plenty of food. And I'll show you over here too. These are the pumpkins, and I don't really take pumpkins too seriously. We just kind of plant them and see what happens. So I've just got 4 pumpkin plants here, and they will bush out and cover this grass, and it'll just kill it off. But these are also showing signs of nutrient deficiencies. There's a classic like magnesium and probably potassium going on with that one. But I threw some weekly feed down and watered them in, and so these will take back off. We're completely root bound in those little pots under the grow light. They really needed to be planted a couple weeks ago. So that's how it's going. I got some more flowers to plant. So when you go to like nurseries and stuff, always look for the culled plants, like with flowers. They pick out the ones that aren't as good or whatever and set them off to the side and let them die. And a lot of times you can have those for free. And if you have a Mittleider weekly feed, man, you sprinkle them and they'll come right back to life. And I've got 3 blooms going on with these now. They're all nice and green again. And it's like getting free flowers. Just a little, I take and mix a little weekly feed in my sprinkler bucket and just sprinkle it on there and they'll come right back. Flowers seem pretty resilient. With garden plants, I find once they get really stressed out, a lot of times they just don't come back as well and won't produce as well. But flowers are just for looking pretty, not for eating, so I usually take a chance with them. But that's what's going on. I'll talk to y'all later. This is Tom, the Frugal Prepper. Hey folks, so I got back from the nursery, farm, market place, whatever you call it. They got a bunch of greenhouses, a bunch of plants, and they also plant their own plants. They got a big field, and then they grow stuff all year long and sell it out there. So they always have good, healthy plants, so I really like going there. And then I stopped by my other place. I got some potatoes. I wanted to get some Pontiac Reds. They didn't have any this year, so I got some russets and some Yukon Golds. There's the Yukon Gold seed taters. They've got some good eyes on them. These are already starting to sprout, these russets. Yeah, so I'll get those planted. And then got just a bunch of different kinds of tomatoes, some of which I haven't grown before, just to see what they do. Last year I grew all supersonics because by the time I got there, that's all they had left really, besides cherry tomatoes. And I'm not a big cherry tomato person. I really like big slicing tomatoes and Romas for making like pasta sauce and stuff. So went and got some Jet Stars. I've never actually, well no, I have grown Jet Stars once a long time ago. That was before I did Mittleider, so nothing was real successful back then. But I'm gonna give those a shot. These are pretty popular at like farmers markets and roadside stands and stuff. And then let's see here. Oh, I got a tangle. All right, I got my peppers. These are sweet banana. I got a lot of sweet banana peppers. I really love them. They're hugely productive in my garden. Last year they grew almost 6 feet tall, and I just had more banana peppers than I knew what to do with. More sweet bananas, and then here's some more tomatoes. These are delicious tomatoes, and from what I looked up on my phone real quick, these are supposed to grow a pretty big giant tomato. So they're definitely indeterminate. I only in this garden this year I'm only doing indeterminates because I want them to vine up the strings. So I got some delicious tomatoes. This is a sweet mingle mix pepper. I have no idea. We're gonna give it a shot and see what it does. And then I also did these hot mingle mix peppers. And we'll see what they're like. I'm not a big hot pepper person, but I like them once in a while. More sweet banana. And I got some of these sun sugar tomatoes. And I don't know if these are, I know they're indeterminate. I don't know if these are like the little cherry round yellow ones or if they're a bigger one. I'm going to plant them and see what happens. And I got a couple of things with the early girls, just so I can have some early slicing tomatoes. These always do really well in my garden. They're a good hybrid tomato, very disease resistant. And they grow just like a medium-sized slicing tomato. More sweet banana, peppers, and then I got some Brandywine heirlooms. I have never actually grown Brandywines before, so everybody else seems to grow them and talk about how great they are, and I figure I'll give it a shot. I probably won't have room to plant all of these plants, but I'm at least going to plant some of them. And what I usually do when I have extras is I put them out front on a table, free tomato plants, and they come take them. People stop and get them. So, and then I got one Better Boy, which grows a nice big slicing tomato, and this is also a really good disease-resistant hybrid. It's very resistant to fusarium wilt. So, got a couple more things of flowers. Yeah, plant some more flower pots. These are vanilla marigolds. Well, they look like they're going to be little white ones. So I figured I'd get some of those. And I got some yellow petunias. So that with my free called flowers, make some nice flower pots. My mom's bringing over a shepherd's hook so I can put a hanging planter up in the corner of the front yard. So with that, I'm going to get back here and start planting. And I'll kind of show you the ways that I plant some of these plants that works really good for me. And it's also the way the Mittleider method tells you to do it. I didn't used to do it that way, you know. Sometimes I've even seen on like gardening shows on TV and stuff, they'll tell you, oh, get those roots out and spread them out a little bit. That's actually puts the plant into shock and stunts its growth. So I'll show you how I do it. And I'll be back here in just a minute. The other thing I want to say, that one of the other things I really like about this place that I go is all of this stuff that I got today was $18 with tax, like $18.04. It's like really cheap. When you go to like Walmart and buy those little Bonnie plants and the peat pots that you can't get off, you pay like, you know, this many plants there would cost you $100 and some. It's crazy. So I love finding small farmers markets that have plants, because a lot of times you get them way cheaper, and these are really nice looking healthy plants as well. Okay, so what we want to do is plant these every 9 inches right along the wire here, where my string's going to tie to. And these are indeterminate, so they go every 9 inches in a single row. I'll just move some lumps of clay out of the way. And we'll grab some tomatoes. And these are the delicious ones. So what I do is just take and tip this over, give it a little tap, and get these to release, like so. And then I'll sit these out. I want to just kind of be as gentle as I possibly can with the roots. And we're just going to sit them in there. Don't fluff them up or mess with them or nothing. You can pinch off these bottom little dying branches. You want to plant them as deep as you can, or pretty deep, and then just gently pack a little clay in there around it. That's all you have to do. This is just, you can make, I'm telling you, you can make clay pots out of this stuff and fire them in an oven. So we'll just do, that one's at 9 inches, so we'll do another one here at 18 inches. And it's just the same thing. Pretty simple process. We're just going to repeat this all the way down the bed and plant this thing out. And I'll show you what we do when we get to the peppers here. But roots are kind of stuck together at the top of these. Drop that in. Put some of this clay around, like so. Pinch off this bottom little branch. one's kind of doing the lean. Yes. Basically, that's pretty much it. I'll just work my way down through here. Alright, so this is kind of just going to be an experimentation year for tomatoes, because like I said, I've got so many tomatoes in the freezer still from last year. Those Supersonics, those things grew like mad, and they actually work great for like canning and using in salsa. They're not too seedy, and they have a really tough skin, which makes them easy to peel. So, but I just want to see this year what's going to grow well. I know Supersonics do well, so I didn't get any of those. So I put one sun sugar on the end. Then I got a Better Boy. I got a Delicious. I've got one Brandywine, one Jet Star, and 2 Early Girls because I want some tomatoes early. So then the rest of this half of the bed will be peppers, and then potatoes down at the end. So I'll show you how I plant the peppers. Okay, so for peppers we go 12 inches. So what I like to do is come over 12 inches from my last plant, and I dig one hole here. That gives us plenty of room for this pepper to kind of fan out and not interfere with that tomato. They're small now, but these plants will get big in a hurry, and you know, you just don't want them. But with peppers, what we're going to do, that's a little too. We're going to alternate them in an alternating pattern. So I'm going to put one about right here. Alright, and then what I'm going to do is come down 6 more inches and put in another one right here. And 6 more inches. And so they'll be 12 inches apart on each side, but there'll be one alternating back and forth every 6 inches. So that's about 12 there. We can go over just a bit, and then I'll go ahead and put some peppers in. We'll start with some sweet mixed mingles. And again, these come out real easy, so I'm not even tipping them over. And I'm just going to kind of pack them in to the clay soil, pinch off this bottom leaf, and I'm ready to put in the next one. So I'll just come down here, see 18 inches, and I'll dig a hole over on this side. That's where my other pepper's going to go. Okay, I'm just going to do those 2 on that variety, and then what else do I got? I got some garden hot pepper, and we're going to give that a shot. Plant a couple of those. So now I'm going to come down 12 inches from this plant. Alright, there's 12 inches. Yeah, that's about 18, I guess. So that'd be 6. So then 12 inches from this plant, be right about here. Drop one in. Pinch off these bottom leaves. Don't want any leaves touching the soil if we can help it, because that promotes disease. I thought I got some habaneros, but I guess I didn't. I was going to try those. So this is pretty much how it's going to go. I'll come back when we get this all planted. Okay, so I'm planting the potatoes here. I left a few of them uncovered just to kind of show you how we go down through here. And it's an 8-inch alternating pattern. These didn't get spaced quite right here. I have to look at those two, but the rest of them, I've covered most of them, but a few left to cover up. And then we'll have some good potatoes growing, hopefully. I got the russets on this side, and down here on the end is the Yukon Golds. Alright folks, so the garden's in and planted. It's getting dark. Planted a bunch of flowers and stuff too out front. Made it look all pretty. Wife likes it. She's happy. So I think I'm going to take my birthday money that I got here. My birthday was yesterday. And I'm going to go buy the Schedule 200 pipe and make the Mittleider watering system this year. Means I got to fix the faucet because it leaks. The outside spigot. So I can fix that. Then I can put my water timer that I got on there and get my hoses all done up, make sure all my washers are tight and stuff, and then I can have that auto watering system going on. And so what I'll do, instead of putting the timer like down at the end of the hose, I'm going to put it right at the spigot so that if the hose does burst, it's not sitting there leaking all day long, just when it kicks on. But that'll definitely help not having to come out and drag that hose around every single day. And even if I don't put the timer on at first and just turn the spigot on for 10 minutes and turn it off when I get home at night, that's a lot easier than going out. And although you still need to look at your garden every day, I can turn the spigot on for 10 minutes, walk through the garden, take a quick look, turn it off, go inside, and relax in the air conditioning. So look for a video. I'll do a video on how I'm going to set up my little Mittleider watering system. It's nothing special. I'm just pretty much going to follow what's in the Mittleider gardening method course workbook or course book, and do it as they suggest. I bought the drill bits I needed a long time ago, so that's not an issue. And I just have to buy some pipe and a few fittings and hook it up to the hose, and I'll be set. But hopefully, showing how I kind of plant my plants into it will help. If you're interested in the Mittleider gardening method, I would just recommend that you go buy the Mittleider gardening course book and read it. If you want to, there's classes by Jim Kennard and stuff that you can go take. I never took those. I'm capable of reading the book and following the directions, and I get great results. Now, my garden maybe technically doesn't 100% follow the method because they either do it as soil beds with no wooden frame, or they do it as grow boxes with the wooden frame that are 2x8s. I just have 2x6s that I sunk into the soil, and I tilled up the soil so that I still use all those 4x20 rules, or normally they're 30 feet, but I use all the 4-foot wide rules and plant like it is a grow box, but I'm growing in the soil because I didn't want to mess with sand and sawdust and all that crap. And it really doesn't matter what medium you grow in with Mittleider. Although I think, maybe it's just me, I'm biased, I think I have better results growing in the dirt than most people do in sand and sawdust. But, there's 100 factors that go in. There's 6 laws of plant growth. And nutrition, the soil, is only one, right? So, those other factors could vary widely and be causing some of those issues. That where I see the sand and sawdust beds don't seem to look quite as good as mine in the time frame that mine does. Anyway, the Mittleider Gardening Facebook group is always there. I'd stay away. The people there have gotten mean. It's kind of turned into a free-for-all. There's not much moderation. If you ask questions, a lot of times that are good, honest questions that you have because you're learning something that's totally different than you've known gardening to be, people will just jump on you and attack you. Like you're trying to tell them, and I get it that they get a lot of these organic gardener, religious nuts that show up over there. Like organic gardening's a religion to them, the vegans and all that crap. And they show up over there and start giving them all this, trouble for using chemical fertilizers. But we'll get into all that later. Anyway, just beware if you go over there and you get attacked. It might, don't, I just stay away from there. If you do need help, maybe you can go post a question, or if you're having a problem, or you can always ask me too, and I'll try to help you any way I can. I'm not a Mittleider master gardener, though. I can just tell you how I do it and what's worked for me with the plants that I've grown. But I find that it works really, really well, and enables me to grow a lot of food for my family that otherwise I just couldn't grow. And when I tried traditional gardening methods, I did a lot more work and was a lot less successful. So that's all I got. I'm going to go in the house, relax for the evening, and put this video up. And then I'm putting another video up soon too for a giveaway. I'll talk to y'all later. This is Tom, your Frugal Prepper.